Hello everyone, welcome to the penultimate round of F4, round 14, the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. And got as well today, big opportunity for Vico, the championship leader. Has a massive opportunity to wrap up the title today with a round to go. He outscores his teammate Tom H by 4 points, and Arrigo Stavo does not outscore him by 6. He will be the champion. And it's going to be a very difficult track to do that. One of the longest tracks on the calendar, very harsh on tyres, very harsh on ERS and fuel. Let's see, who's going to be first on a lap? There's Bada, who will be first out on track and is the only driver on mediums. See what Bada can do on those medium compound tyres. To turn 1, taking in a very high gear. Not sure if that's the way to take that. There's a 17.4 for sector 1. Understeering wide and backing out of his lap. And that will lead the next car to be Connor. In the Williams will now be first to set a time. Down kilometre long back straight, pick his braking point. Fix it nicely. Very good run through the chicane. Through the triple chicane, very careful not to invalidate. Using a lot of curb as well. The final sector, very tentative. It's been a fairly good lap so far though from Connor. Doesn't make full use of the track on the outside. Through the final corner, up to the line is a 35.8. Next up is Rigby, who does a 36.5, but is invalid. The pathway goes fastest on a 34.9. I think he might have had a tow from Rigby in the middle of that. So Mr. Silence has gone P3 on a 36.2. Road does a 35.8. Mustang does a 39.7. Vico puts himself on pole with a 34.4. And Tom 34.8. Needs to start ahead of his teammate today, does Tom. It's such a difficult circuit to overtake. His fingerhook has put himself P4 on a 35.3. Ellis has gone P8 on a 36.9. It was Arrigo Stavo P4, 35.2. Anyone else on? Well, Bada is on what looks to be an in-lap. With Eddie on his first lap. 58.6 for the first 2 sectors. Very cautious through the triple way chicane, not taking a lot of curb. Not quite sure if he's on an in-lap. His ERS is completely depleted. This is a lap from Eddie. And it is good enough for P10, beats his teammate with a 37.7. Massive concertina effect through the final sector. Military Shadow starting his first lap in the AlphaTauri. See through turn 1. Not using full use of that curb through turn 2, runs are slightly wide, and another thing that this track is very, very easy for is the track limits, especially through the third and first sector. And Team Killer's now on his outlap. He's the only person on an outlap as well. Finger hook. Oh, he's not on an outlap. After the first set of laps, it is Vico from Tom to Packway getting himself in amongst the top 3 in the championship. Very strong lap from him. I do think he had a bit of a helping hand from Rigby down both straights, which will have definitely gained him at least half a second. Team Kill start his first lap of the session. And the car over to the right. Nice through turn 1. Sure not to spin on that curve on the inside of turn 3. Into sector 1 is purple sector 1 with 17.2 from the McLaren. So back end kicks out through this awkward section, so that's neutral. Not a very good start to sector 2. Team Kill. Again, back end kicks out through the chicane. His middle sector split gonna look like 58.6. I don't think that's purple. And back end does well to catch it and not crash in the hotel section. Very slidey rear end. And Team Kill round the final corner up to the line, and it will be P10 on a 37.2. Finger hookers came out on a set of medium tyres. So we have Tom on his second lap. Needs 3.5 tenths to catch up to Vico. He has to beat him today. He's a 10th up. It is purple through the middle sector. Very nice through the triple chicane. Into the hotel section. Very awkward braking at turn 17. Multiple 2 corners. Doesn't run wide. Gets the car turned in for the second one, up to the line, and it is not enough. It's only a marginal improvement from Tom. He's going to need a very, very good second lap. And to pack away in P3 on his second lap of the session. Very nice run through the final two corners to pack way up to the line. Goes P2 on a 34.6. Riga Stavo invalidates his lap at the final corner, and I think this Military Shadow has crashed on the entry to the pit lane. Quite an easy thing to do around this track. Rowe has invalidated his lap almost immediately. If anyone laps with a finger hook is on his lap on the mediums. Oh, it's a bit deep. It's not looking like a great final sector. He's going to continue the lap though. Will this be enough to beat his soft compound tyre lap? It's nowhere near. 2.5 seconds down. Rigby comes into the pits. And Connor is on an invalidated lap. Mr. Silence is on an out lap. Team goes on his in lap. Badler comes into the pit. Mustang is on an invalidated lap. So a lot of drivers invalidating, as it is so easy to do around this circuit. You have to attack the curbs at near enough every single corner, especially that one being a prime example. There is no sausage curve on the inside of the turn 17. You can attack it as well inside of the penultimate corner, running wide as well. Mr. Sands is on his out lap, and this will be his final lap of the session. Currently P10. 4/10 off Cotter in front of him. It's going to have to be a big improvement from Mr. Sands if he wants to move up the field. Very nice through turn 1. He's got an Alfa Romeo coming out of the pits in front of him, who, to be fair, Tom gets out the way straight away. Mr. Sands a 10th up through the first sector. Nice rotation through the hairpin. It's a decent exit to go along with it. Long run, kilometre, brakes will get cold. Just got to pick the braking zone. She does. Nicely through the chicane. This is middle sector split going to look like Mr. Silence. It is Pair, but he's 4/10 up to 57.6. Very nice lap so far from Mr. Silence. And brakes, gets it. Again, very nice rotation from the Red Bull. Make sure not to invalidate. 2 corners to go, 1 corner to go. Round to the final corner, up to the line, Mr. Silence, 4/10 improvement, goes P8. Gustavo is on his lap. Will be his final lap. Has to outscore Vico today, does Enrique Gustavo, by 6 points, and he is currently down on his time. 8/10 off Vico at the moment. It's going to have to be a monster of a final sector if he wants any chance of getting close to Vico. Can he even get himself onto the front row of P3? It's a long way off it. It's got to be a big improvement. Around the final corner, up to the line. And he does improve slightly, and he's also been pushed down to P5 for Military Shadow. So Gustavo, it's not looking good for him at the moment. See Tom on his lap. Vico gets out the way. Might have been a bit off-putting there. Tactical battle from Vico. And Tom needs 3/10. Can he find it? Yes, he can. 1:34.399. It is enough. Vico now, however, is starting his lap, and Tom, he's gonna have to get out the way, because he does not want to be giving Vico a tow, which he does not. He gets out the way. Vico is a 10th up through the first sector. What is his response to that lap? In traffic on the left, Vico choosing not to use the slipstream of the Ferrari. This is the second chicane. Takes a bit cautiously, this Vico. The checker flag is out. And he is... It's not purple, it's still an improvement. Back end squirms. And Vico runs wide. Surprised that hasn't invalidated the lap. Must have lost a sufficient amount of time for the game to think not. As he goes deep and he's backing out. And it will not be pole position. On the Packway, can the Packway improve? Is he going to get held up by Vico's AI? Quite the Packway through the final corner. Can he put himself on the front row? He can! 34.4 from the Packway, and Vico, who could have very much been on pole position at the very end, has been pipped by both his teammates and the Packway. Superb laps from the two of them. Team Kill to be the last car, I think, across the line. He's coming for pits. Oh, no, he's not. Across the line. That is qualifying finished. And Vico, when he would have wanted pole position, he had it there to be taken, and he threw it all away in that final sector. Ridorda, Tom on pole, only person into the .3s. The Packway is second. Vico, P3, does get the clean side of the grid, to be fair. Fingerhook P4, Military Shadow P5. Gustavo needs a miracle at this point if he wants to take the title fight to Brazil. Rigby P7, Mr. Silence 8th, Rowe 9th, and Connor in P10. All of them will start on the worn softs. Imagine this surely is a two-stop race. I don't imagine anyone will pick the hards. It's not a very nice track for them. It's going to be very, very interesting. How much is Vico going to try and risk getting ahead of Tom and the Packway if he wants to take the title today? Because Tom, he has the cushion, Tom, of the Packway for the start. He will get first choice on strategy if he is first on track. Again, it's such a from real life, this track is ridiculously difficult to overtake. It's not a fun track. It's gonna have to be a very, very good start for Vico if he wants any chance of challenging. And two on the front row. It'll be also very interesting to see what strategy the drivers do pick, whether they pick medium, soft medium or medium soft. There is 3 options for this race. You could even do a free stop, but it's not recommended. Still waiting for all the drivers to load in. Taking a little longer than usual. I think the lobby has failed. Yeah, everyone's leaving. What this will mean now, if a new lobby has to be set up, is that the top 10 will now all get fresh soft compound. They will have to start on the softs, but they will get fresh softs. So that's going to take any advantage that all the people outside the top 10 would have gained. Okay, we are back. Lobby is reset. Like I was saying just before, the other lobby was abandoned. In top 10, now we'll get the benefit that they will now all be on fresh softs instead of the warm ones. So any advantage that anyone outside the top 10 was going to gain has basically just been eliminated. Gameplay audio is oddly loud. Lower that back down. And driver is now ready to start the formation lap. Let's see, outside the top 10, Team Kill, Ellis, Eddie and Noof Squidus have all selected the mediums. They're aiming to go longer, maybe try the one stop. It is possible one stop from soft to medium, especially now considering that everyone is on fresh softs. It will be possible. Whether anyone tries it is a different story. I don't imagine anyone probably will. Mediums to hards, don't see anyone trying that either. It's not a very quick strategy. The question off the start, can Vico, he needs to get by the Packway on the opening lap, and if not, hopefully before the DRS gets enabled. We want to get past that Renault. Because if he's stuck behind him and isn't within Tom's DRS, once it gets enabled, he might find it quite difficult to get back within it. Game very odd strategy to start on mediums and use 2 sets of them. A set of softs, would not recommend that. Drivers being very aggressive with tyre warming. They can afford to be with the tyres being fresh. Vico now backing off considerably. It's something that I noticed with Vico, is that he does seem to back off considerably to make a gap. Tom has recognised it though, and has slowed the Packway down so everyone else can catch back up. He's got another group of cars is dropping back. Ellis heading that group. They need to stay close to each other on the formation lap. Not that they will hit each other, but it's not very fair when they back off. So the game is now going to reform the grid for the front runners. New Swithers feeds around the final corner. Lines up in 16th and last place. All cars on the grid. Great camera angle for 5 red lights. held for a long time, but they are green in Abu Dhabi, and the Pathway does not get a good start. A super start from Vico. He's going to challenge Tom to turn one, not quite able to. Tom runs wide. It's an Alpha Tauri running wide in the background. I think that was Fingerhook. The Pathway's made an awful start, and oh no, and the Pathway spins Arrigo Stavo, and there's also racing points at turn 3. And Arrigo Stavo, when he needed to be at the front, just spun around, but Tom has held the lead. But Vico has done what he needed to do, and he's got past the Pathway on the first lap. And 2 Alpha Tauris of Fingerhook and Military Shadow are up into P3 and 4. The Pathway is now coming under pressure from Rowe as they make contact through game, but Rowe gets him round the outside, and now Rigby is looking all over the Pathway. It's been an awful first lap for the Renault driver. Rigby, can he go round the outside? Not quite, but it's the gap. It's going to open up. And quite the jostling for position in the midpoints, playing positions. And all stays how it was. And top 3 already beginning to pull away from the rest of the field. And Tom, can he break the DRS to Vico? His timing page has decided to mess up. And Vico getting very close through the hairpin. It's a good exit. Now, is Vico going to challenge on this lap? Or will he wait for the DRS? He's getting close. We've got Eddie who's coming, a team kill. He's looking for the move, and team kill moves under braking. Gets a nice little switch back, but a late defensive move from team kill then. Eddie will get a second chance to fight McLaren. There's not enough to gain on him, and Arrigo Stavo, after pitting on the first lap, pitted for the medium compound tyres. Needs a safety car at this point now. He's the man in third in the championship. And back to the front. Gap's still 6/10 of a second. I actually don't think my gaps are updating. There we go. Fix Tom with the fastest lap. 8/10 clear of Vico. Side action going into turn 1. Ellis has got past Bader into turn 1. We've moved from the Ferrari. Back to the front. Vico does have the DRS. It's nowhere near close enough. Look at Rowe and Military Shadow. We're getting close to the Alpha Tauri. Brakes, small lockup. Goes for the switchback though, does the Red Bull. Gets a much better exit coming out of the chicane. And will this be a simple DRS pass for Rowe on Military Shadow? It is a simple pass, and Rowe's up into P4. Rowe's up into P4 after starting P9. Superb first few laps from Rowe. Not many people going for overtakes. Tom has managed to break a second from Vico. Fingerhook dropping back from the two of them. And it's even bigger gap back to Rowe, heading the train from P4 down to P9. As Rowe runs wide into turn 1, picks up 3 seconds. Very early penalty. Probably going to see a lot more of those penalties come throughout this race. And these guys beginning to form a DRS train. We have yellow flags as I think Eddie has spun at turn 3. And look at the Pathway, who is gaining on Military Shadow. Will he look for the move? Won't. Of course, gets the second attempt. Military Shadow picks up 3 seconds going through the chicane. Now here comes the Pathway. Can he make a move? It's just not close enough, and again, it's such a difficult circuit to overtake as the Pathway picks up his first penalty. 3 drivers on this lap already picking up penalties. We're beginning to pull away from this group. As well, Rowe has managed to gain a second. And Shadow Rigby having a look at the Pathway. No room. Back to the front, Vico holding that DRS to his teammates. He's got so much more ERS already at this stage of the race. It's the benefit of having the DRS, you don't have to use the ERS. It's such an easy track to retain the DRS, it's in such a slow section of the track. If you just push through the chicane slightly, you should get within a second. Tom already feeling the need to break the toe from Vico. He's got the Pathway, Military Shadow, and the Pathway makes an easy move. Military Shadow comes back at him, shows him the dummy, does Military Shadow. And oh, this slight spin, the Pathway is spun and he's collected. He's collected Rigby in the middle of all of it. Rigby being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Is the Pathway having damage from that incident? He's got a way of out damage, Rigby has not. See, complete left hand side of that front wing gone. Rigby will come into the pits to change that front wing. A very odd incident as Rowe runs wide again at turn 1 and it picks up a further 3 seconds. So you have more yellow flags and it's an Alpha Tauri and it's Military Shadow who has gone off. And a very odd part of that corner to have gone off. To the front, Vico not the only person in the field who has DRS. Again, not close enough to Tom to make anything stick. Playing the long game at the moment is Vico. Doesn't need to risk a front wing at this stage, doesn't need to push to get past. It's a bit of a wobble through this penultimate corner. It's been clean so far. Military Shadow retires from the session on the back straight. Will that cause a safety car or VSC? Probably not. Depending on where the game parks his car. Vico not dropping out of a second on this lap. With the Packway on the back of Connor, wanting to recover for that incident with Military Shadow and the poor start that he had. Down a kilometre long back straight. Can he get close enough? Not quite. To the back of Connor. Connor goes a bit deep though. And that will give the Packway a much better exit coming out of the chicane. Now Connor's going to cover the inside. The Packway's having none of it. He's going to force the inside as the Packway. He gets down the inside. He's caught on the inside curb though. Connor picks up 3 seconds and the Packway is round. Just no luck at all. It's the Packway at the moment in this race. Ellis pick up damage from that? No, I think Ellis hit the brakes and then the ghosting came into effect. The Packway's second time he has been spun. Yellow flags in the final sector for Lusting in the racing point. This road picks up a fair penalty already. Not taking any notice of the track limits as row at the moment. Mr. Packway picks up another 3 seconds. And Vico getting very close to Tom on this lap. It's costing him a bit of time though. It's really going to be interesting to see which of these two gets first call on strategy. The pit window is now open. I'm pretty sure. Is Tom going to dive in? Yes, he is. Now Vico, with all that ERS saved up, is he going to burn it and try and go for an overcut? What tyre has Tom put on? In his pit stop he's put on a set of medium tyres. Also coming in did Rowe, Connor, the Packway. Are they all going to mediums? I think they are. Yes, they are all going onto medium compound tyres. So definitely doing a 2-stop. They can get the mediums to go 20 laps from here. Don't think they'll try it though. And Vico not using his battery, and the thing is for Vico at this point, he uses a bit there. This isn't going to be helpful. And here is Tom. Tom is only coming on to the back straight now. Because they're going to pass each other now around that barrier. Tom will quite... The pit lane loss time's around about 18 seconds. Tom is 18.5 seconds behind Vico. He needs a strong final sector, which he probably will get on the fresh tyres. It's gonna be tight. Into the pits comes Vico. Will he copy Connor? Will he go opposite? Not Connor, sorry. Will he copy Tom? He will copy his teammate. As Mr. Silence comes in as well. Where is he going to come out compared to him? Tom, purple final sector, and the benefit of the undercut. Look at how much time Vico has lost. He's lost 3 seconds in 1 lap. As Fingerhook has also stayed out. Is he going for a 1-stop maybe in the AlphaTauri? But he's going to come under considerable pressure straight away, will Fingerhook, from the 2 Alfa Romeos. Let's have a look at his tyre. Looking fairly okay actually, Fingerhook's tyres. Let's see who is yet to stop. So Fingerhook, Team Kill, and Ellis and Team Kill are going side by side. This Team Kill very nearly loses the back end. It's not going to attack the Ferrari. And Fingerhook, Ellis, Team Kill, Nusquidus, the only people yet to pit. See the gap of the 2 Alfa Romeos had actually pulled, as they were able to come out ahead of everyone who started on the medium compound tyre. As Rigby has got past Mr. Silence, and Rigby is going to have had a few laps undercut, 3 laps undercut on everyone else. As Tom sets fast lap, Fingerhook is into the pits, and it is the hard compound tyre. So Fingerhook is 1-stopping. Where will he feed out? He will feed out behind Ellis, I think. And Fingerhook will feed out just behind Ellis into P4. Now a battle for P5. Nusquidus, of course, yes, the pit, but Rigby and Mr. Silence have. And they have all jumped Rowe, so Rowe has clearly had a problem. It's fixed up another 3 seconds. As Rigby flies past Nusquidus down the back straight. Will Mr. Silence try and follow him through? Mr. Silence will try and follow him through. And Mr. Silence, superb move from Mr. Silence around the outside of the chicane, and he's completely dropped Nusquidus in the middle of all that as well. As I did see that Connor did leave the session. I'm going to quickly re-invite him. And Vico setting a fastest lap. Trying to close that gap as Vico that he's lost on staying out that extra lap. Fingerhook pretty much on his own as Rowe picks up his 5th 3 seconds. He's going to have to watch himself that he doesn't get disqualified at this rate, as he is overtaking New Squidus. If you hit 27 seconds of track limit penalties, the game will disqualify you, so he's going to have to watch that row if he keeps on cutting the corners like he is. It's going to ruin his race. Gustavo is back up into P10 after his spin, and Connor is disconnected. The pathway is right on the back of Noob Squidus, who is struggling on those worn mediums. Pathway looking into turn 1. He's going to go down the inside into turn 1 as to Pathway. Leaving each other a lot of room, into Pathway gets it done on New Squidus. No waiting round. Oh, he gets back past him. I was not quite sure what the Pathway was doing there. He might have got a small tap, but he ends up back behind New Squidus, and now he's going to have to use the DRS. Got ahead as well. Mr. Silence has got past Rigby on those fresher mediums. The Pathway is getting past Noob Squidus as well. A few overtakes happening all on the same lap. And Rigby not fighting back against Mr. Silence. Now can Mr. Silence get after Fingerhook in front of him? And Fingerhook, of course, doesn't have to stop again, but Fingerhook at this stage, he's got the gap behind him. Fingerhook, he could probably afford to pit again. He's not going to jump either Alfa Romeo. Well, he might jump Vico, but he's not going to jump Tom, even when Tom makes his second pit stop. So it might have been a bit of a waste putting on those hard compound tyres. And Tom, 2.5 second gap now between him and Vico. Vico, of course, has picked up that picked up his first penalty. Vico has to do the move on track now and pull 3 seconds on his teammate, but again Tom is going to have first choice on strategy again, so he might just end up in the same situation here, Vico, where he was at the end of the first stint, where he's got to stay out that extra lap and the grip isn't there. The fresh tyres give such an advantage. This tracks, we move back to Mr. Silence and Rigby, both of them having their ERS lights flashing. Is Rigby gonna have a look as he taps the back of the Red Bull? Can't quite make a move. Mr. Silence holds on to P4. As the gap between Vico and Thomas came down by a second, so as Tom made a mistake in the final sector, Rowe picks up, I think there's now 18 seconds worth of penalties now for Rowe. He is cutting it fine, Rowe, as he comes into the pits and he retires from the session. I think he knows that with those penalties he's not going to score points with that level of penalties, and he was risking disqualification if he carried on. And comes the second DNF of the session. Gustavo picks up 3 seconds. And there's the Silence and Rigby. Again, Rigby just not close enough to make any sort of move. They're not making inroads on Fingerhook either, so I think Fingerhook might have P3 secured here. Rigby goes deep into the chicane. And not many battles on track. It's such a difficult circuit to overtake. And to follow another car. And gap's still 1.5 seconds. He's got to try and put some pressure on Tom, does Vico. And another 2 racing points, down in 13th and 14th. Are they going to go side by side as Mustang goes wide? It's an easy move for Eddie. As Gustavo was in the pits for his second pit stop after pitting, of course, on lap 1. He will go to another set of the medium compound tyres to the end of this race. Squidder still hasn't pitted from... It's the only person yet to pit. He is still in P7. As Badler picks up 3 seconds. But Squidder, surely he must be trying to stretch this to put on the soft compound tyre. 16th, he's driving a very good race at the moment, Squidder. He's now got his teammate though coming up behind him. He also has Ellis coming up behind him. Connor is only just behind them. This battle between from 7th down to 10th might be about to hot up as Team Kill gets past Squidder quite easily. Is Ellis also going to get by? It's not an overtaking opportunity, but Ellis is going to make it work and gets the move done. Ellis up into P8 now. Can Connor attack Squidder, whose tyres are surely finished as Squidder peels off into the pits and surely has to go to the hard compound tyres. It's not going to get softs to the end at this point. Rigby is also into the pits for softs. It's bold to put on softs. They are fresh, of course, because there has been no qualifying. But still a bold one to get those tyres to the end. And see Rigby comes out in P9. Behind his teammates. He now has 3 cars in front of him that he has to clear. And he will be aiming to undercut Mr. Silence in P4. As Vico picks up another 3 seconds. As Rigby has got past Connor. Rigby's going to go for it on Ellis as well. And it's a superb few hundred metres for Rigby, who makes 2 positions down the back straight. Now Ellis and Connor are going to go side by side to the end of sector 2. Connor gets past Ellis as well. Both Williams moving ahead of the Ferrari. Good moves from those two. Looking back to the front, Vico has got back within the DRS of Tom. Will Tom crack under this pressure? Vico, the closing speed that Vico has. As Tom's light comes on, Vico's looking to the inside. Doesn't quite go for it. He beds a lot of ERS doing that, did Vico. He's still got quite a bit compared to Tom. But he's taking the fight to him. And down the second straight, he's not going to go for it. Favourably, that the second DRS zone is probably the better overtaking opportunity on this track, because there's no chance of anyone getting back past you. Again, these two now are the only 2 cars once again within DRS of each other. As Tom peels into the pit lane, he has that first choice. As Tom, what tyres will it be? He should easily come out in P2. He's not going to lose a position to Fingerhook. And there's another set of medium tyres for Tom. For Vico now, it's going to have to be a good in-lap for Vico. As he laps badder. As Tom is going to come out the pit lane in P2. And Vico has got to put a good lap in. He's burning that battery that he has. He cannot afford another in-lap like the first one. As Rigby sets the fastest lap and Connor picks up 3 seconds. Rigby flying on those fresh softs. His tyres not looking great as the yellow flags in sector 1 for a racing point. I think it was Eddie might have spun out of the pit lane. Field very far spread out. A lot of the field on the back straights. And only a few selective cars in the technical sections, but in comes Vico. Make sure not to speed, gets it slowed down. Now, is Vico going to copy Tom? Or will he go different? He will go different. He will put on the softs. It's worth the risk. And there goes Tom. And again, the huge undercut that Tom has got. He's got no ERS though, does Tom, and Vico comes out just under 4 seconds behind him, but with 8 laps to go on soft compound tyres. Vico's surely going to catch him. And quickly as the Packway is also into the pit to his second stop, so is Connor, so is Ellis. See how quickly can Vico get onto the back of Tom, because he does have to overtake Tom and he does have to pull 3 seconds. As long as Tom Tom is on 3 seconds, Vico is on 6. Keeps giving me the horrible nose cam. See, again, just not a lot of battles on track at the moment. Gonna go on board with Tom sets a fast lap. Gonna go on board with Vico for this lap, his first lap on the first full lap on the softs, and just see how quick he can go. Surely gonna take the fastest lap here is Vico. And purple to the first sector by 3 tenths. Mr. Silence is now in to get rid of his medium compound tyres. He puts on softs as well. As Rigby is now up into P4. It's a superb recovery from Rigby after his damage. Vico already gained about half a second on this lap. 8 tenths up through the first two sectors was a bit deep. Is he gaining enough on Tom to which he can overtake his teammates and then have enough speed still on those soft compound tyres to re-overtake him? Not to re-overtake him, to pull the gap. Round to final corner, does Vico 137 dead. Might take a bit of beating there. There is the pathway and Mr. Silence though, however, are on fresh softs as well. You have the pathway and Mr. Silence are actually within a second of each other at the moment. On track. It's a battle for P5. Mr. Silence though does not have any penalties. The pathway has 9, but Mr. Silence as well might be able to get within 3 seconds of Rigby. Pushing through the hairpin to try and get close. Has a lot of ERS to play with at the moment as the pathway. Is he going to burn all of it? He is going to burn all of it and see the rocket ship and the benefit of the ERS. Down the inside goes the pathway, can't quite get it done. It's a nice switchback though onto the second straight. Pathway down the inside. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. He's gonna have to sit behind. This sounds for another lap. Move back to the front. Vico has got within the DRS of Tom. It's just a lot of ERS to do it though as Vico. They're pretty much equal with ERS at this stage. Both of them have their lights flashing. This is going to be just DRS. Well, Vico's going to have the overspeed into the braking zone. The two teammates doing well not to make contact. They're barging wheels. Vico has got past, but this time Tom now has the DRS. Is he going to come back at Vico? Is he? Around the outside. Can't quite do it. It's a switch back on Vico though. Vico has managed to get... He's got it done, Vico. On the softs. Now he has to pull 3 seconds on Tom. But that is why Vico is the championship leader. As someone picks up another 3 seconds as Vico through the final sector, and all of a sudden Tom has a bit more breathing room. Because now he only has to stay within 6 seconds of Vico. So it may not be the title today for Vico. Tom has held on to the DRS. I'm just going to look back here. You've got the two McLarens going side by side. And Team Kill's got past Noob Squidus, and Ellis now looking on the back of Noob Squidus, who is doing really well as Noob Squidus at the moment, considering he, I think, crashed out in qualifying and took those mediums such a long distance, and he put the softs on, to be fair to him as well, to try and get to the end on them. Back for a battle for P5. Still between Mr. Silent and and the Packway. As Lustig retires in the pit lane. And come the third DNF of the race. As Connor comes into the pits. Connor also decides to retire from the race. And the Packway, is the Packway close enough to Mr. Silence? No, he's not. We've got these three again, Team Kill, Noob Squidders and Ellis, getting very close down the back straight. Coming completely off the track there, the Noob Squidders. Again, not quite room for any of them to make an overtake. This was yellow flags for Connor's car coming out of the pit lane. Ellis, who's going to go for move on Noob Squidders, and Ellis gets it done. Up into P9. To Vico has broke the DRS from Tom, but I just don't think he's not going to have the grip in those tyres. He's not going to have the DRS. He's not got the time to pull enough of a gap. And the Packway again, just too far back from Mr. Silence as the Packway. And they also have Arrigo Stavo very close behind these two as well. Arrigo Stavo has had a superb recovery. As Arrigo Stavo from being backwards and last at the end of lap 1, back up into P7. Very close to being able to take P6 away from the Packway. Is Ellis close enough to team kill on this lap? Not quite. And Tom, 1.3 seconds behind Vico, doesn't have the DRS. As the Packway picks up another 3 seconds, which will give Arrigo Stavo P6 at the end of the race. Moment, Tom doesn't need to push too hard, doesn't need to risk anything. He knows the race win is there, and he knows he's going to take this title fight to Brazil as the Packway is spun in sector 1, and that gives Arrigo Stavo P6 for nothing. Does the Packway have damage? Yes, he does as well. Not been to Packway's day, spun twice, now spins on his own. Will he be able to hold on to P7 come the end of this race? So Mr. Silence is absolutely flying onto the back of Rigby. At the moment, I think Rigby has hit the cliff on his soft compound tyres. He pitted extremely early for them. They're not looking too good. Mr. Silence may be able to smell a P4. Maybe 2.6 seconds down on his personal best. Rigby has absolutely no pace. Those tyres are absolutely finished on that Williams. And this might turn into a very easy DRS pass in a few seconds for Mr. Silence. Does Rigby, however, does have more ERS. But it may not matter if he doesn't get the traction that he needs from those softs. Look how much he's gained on that one exit. He's Rigby coming into the chicane. He's not quite close enough. Rigby is struggling. We are now on the final lap of the 2 Alfa Romeos. I think the 2 Alfa Romeos are going to finish this race before we get to see an attempt for an overtake between these two. Sounds all over the back of Rigby. You can see how much he's struggling with those tyres. It's not much of a problem for the first sector, but the effects of it will definitely be seen coming out of the hairpin. Just no grip. Mr. Sounds isn't quite close enough, but he's still going to go for it. It's Mr. Silence. He makes contact with Rigby. Don't think he's quite going to be able to make the move. We're going to switch back to Vico, who's going to cross the line to take the win on track. And Tom is the winner. The title fight will go to Brazil. I'm going to switch back to Mr. Silence, and Rigby just can't. Back, superb defence from Rigby on tyres which are surely destroyed at this stage. Mr. Silence goes into the back of him. Couldn't get it slowed down. Now has front wing damage. Fingerhookers came home in P3. Rigby's got absolutely no speed on the exit. But Rigby is going to hold on for P4. Mr. Silence will be P5. Enrique Gustavo, superb recovery to finish 6th. The Packway, who has that damage on his front wing, is going to come around the final corner, cross the line in P7. I think Team Kill will get him on the line. And Team Kill does get to Packway. Ellis will come home for P9. New Squidus will come home for the final point from 16th. Race today, and Tom probably came into this race thinking he had to beat Vico. He did that in qualifying and give Vico a big fight in the race. Couldn't hold on to P1, but with less penalties, at the end of the day, if the cleaner you are, the more chance you have of winning and being higher up the field. In final order, Tom wins from pole position. Vico will finish in 2nd. Fingerhook on the 1-stop comes home in P3. Rigby, my driver of the day, very good race, good defensive driving, good attacking driving, especially after the damage that he got near the start. Mr. Silence will be P5. Enrique Gustavo, other great candidate for driver of the day. Superb recovery to finish P6. Team Kill finishes P7. The Packway, disappointing race after the front row start, is P8. Ellis is P9. Newsquithus takes the final point from last. Badder is 11th. Eddie is 12th. And everyone else failed to finish. And thank you everyone for joining me for this race. I've got one more race next week. And see the title battle between Vico and Tom. That's all from me. Thank you and goodbye.